In the last few lessons, we covered web automation and Excel automation. Next, we'll keep learning about desktop software automation. Desktop software means programs installed locally on your computer. They don't rely on a browser, and you can launch them directly from your desktop or taskbar to run. Examples include Zoom, WhatsApp, Spotify, Discord, Teams, and so on. To put it simply, aside from web pages, automating operations for any desktop application falls under software automation. Before diving into desktop software automation, let's first review a few core basic concepts. Do you still remember the three components of a command? That's right. Their context target and the specific action type. This core logic applies to all automation scenarios. For example, in our earlier web automation tasks, context refers to the web page object, target refers to web elements, and action type refers to the specific operations performed on those elements, such as click, fill, hover, etc. So what do these three components correspond to in software automation operations? Here's how they correspond. The context of software automation is the software object. In Automa, you can call window object. The target is the software element. In Automa, a software element is called a win element. Action type refers to operations on various software elements, including clicks, fill text field, hovering, and other actions. Therefore, for a software operation command, you can understand it as follows. In the specified window object, perform a specific operation on the target software element. All commands used for software operations are grouped in the software automation command set. Expand the software automation command set, and you'll instantly see the get specified window command. This command allows you to get the window object of the running software. There are several methods. You can get it using the target window's title or type name. You can also get the window where the captured element is located, or you can get the foreground window. These three methods are the most common. In addition, you can get it by the window handle or directly get the desktop as well. After selecting title or type name, you don't need to manually enter the window title. Just click the input box. A drop-down list will pop up showing all the software that's currently running. Let's say you want to get Discord's window, select it, then rename it to Discord window. Click Run, and you'll successfully get Discord's window object. After that, you can find it by this name. We mentioned that the list shows all software that's currently running. So what if Discord isn't running? For example, if you manually close Discord, you won't find Discord's window in the command's expanded list anymore. So how do you get the window object of software that isn't running in the background? In this case, you need to use run/open to launch the software first, then get its window object. You can find it in the software automation command set or in the OS command set. When using it, you need to select the installation path of the software you want to run, or you can just select its shortcut. Leave after launching set to the default Continue immediately. If the target software opens slowly, you can switch it to Wait for main window to appear. Click Test, and Discord will launch. Then pair this with Get Specified Window to get its window object. Also, the reason you can find run/open in the OS command set is that this command also supports executing application commands, system commands, and opening files, documents, URLs, or folders by launching their associated applications. Once you've got the window, the next step is Capture Software Element. Suppose you want to activate the chat interface with Jerry, then you need to perform a click action on the avatar in the message list on the left. Earlier, the way to capture an element was to click Capture Element directly. This is also called Standard Mode. Click Standard Mode, hover your mouse over the target element, hold down the Control key and click. Rename it to Discord Messages Jerrycon, then click Done, and that element is captured successfully. The action for this element is click, so you'll also need to use Click Element. But here's the thing. To click a web element, use the click element that ends with web. To click a software element, use the click element that ends with win. Make sure you don't mix them up. Drag it over, configure the target window and target element, then click Run. You'll see the chat interface open up. Also, you can use in-depth mode to capture a software element. This is a capture mode specifically for software elements. Unlike standard mode, it captures deeper element levels, which lets you capture elements that can't be picked up in standard mode. It's super easy to use. After clicking In-Depth Mode, an operation window pops up, and the right side shows all software currently running in the foreground. You can pick Capture with Mouse Click to have the system capture based on your mouse click, or Capture with Mouse Move to capture based on where your mouse hovers. The latter is more convenient and faster. After clicking Capture with Mouse Move, move your mouse to the target element, and the window on the right will automatically locate it. Name it Discord Messages Jerry in Depth. Then either click the Save button or just press the F8 inches key on your keyboard. To test if the element works, replace the element in the command. Click Run, and it'll still click successfully. If standard mode and in-depth mode can't capture the target element, you can also use the CV mode at the very bottom. This one captures elements through image recognition. Simply put, it turns the target element into an image and then performs actions on that image. Here's how to capture it. First, hold down Ctrl and click the target window, then wait for the system's smart detection. Next, hover your mouse over the target element, hold down Ctrl again and left-click. That's it. The CV element is captured. Name it Discord Messages Jerry Kingsvey. Then replace the element and run the command again. It'll click successfully too. The above are Automa's 3 built-in element capture modes. For capturing software elements, we recommend using them in this order. First, prioritize standard mode. It's easy to use and the most efficient. If standard mode can't capture the target element, try in-depth mode next. It can capture deeper levels of software elements. If the first 2 modes both fail, use CV mode as a last resort to capture the element through image matching. Likewise, software automation also supports capturing similar elements. The capture steps are the same as before. First capture one element, then capture another element that's similar to it. And you'll get a whole group of similar elements. After activating the conversation with Jerry, all the chat content on the current interface is obviously a group of similar elements. Right-click a single message, and you can also click this icon to like it. Next, we'll capture this group of messages as a similar element group, and like every message in it. Click Capture Element, first capture one message, then click Capture Similar Element to capture another message. And you'll get this group of similar message elements. Name it Discord Messages Jerry Messages List. If you want to process this group of elements one by one, you need to use the command for looping through a similar element group. Expand the loops command set, then find the loop through similar elements that ends with win. Double-click it. Select the target window and target element group. Then click Done. What the loop needs to do is right-click the loop item first, then click the like icon. To right-click an element, you still use Click Element. Inside the loop, add a click element that ends with win. First set the target window, then set the target to the loop item, and finally click Advanced Settings to find right-click under Mouse button. This way, you'll right-click the element with your mouse. Copy the command to click the like icon, capture the element, and name it Discord Messages Jerry Message-like. Make sure to change right-click to left-click in Advanced Settings. Combine this with the earlier avatar click operation, run it to check the effect, then go back to the Friends List interface. Click Run. You'll see the Discord window pop up and the mouse will like the messages on the current interface one by one. All right, the run is done. We know that when building a web automation flow, if you use an element operation command directly without first getting the web page object, the program won't run. Does software automation have to follow this rule too? Let's create a new flow to test it out. This time, skip getting the window and drag a click element command directly. You'll notice that match window based on targeted element is automatically selected. If you select the element you just captured as the target, click Run, and the program will still complete the click operation normally. What makes this match window based on targeted elements so special? The answer lies in the elements levels. Find the element in the element library, double-click to open the element editor, then click Edit. After maximizing the window, you'll see that the title of the first level includes Discord. In other words, the level of this element contains the title information of the software window it belongs to, so the program can locate the target element using this title information and the element-specific level. So when you operate software this way, it's not that no window object is being obtained. The window information is actually hidden in the elements levels. That said, if you need to work with multiple pieces of software, it's better to explicitly get the window object first before performing any operations. This makes the flow clearer and also lowers the risk of accidental misoperations. In software automation, besides clicking, interactive operations also include hovering, filling in text, dragging, setting dropdowns, and more. Retrieval operations cover getting element objects, associating elements, and obtaining text and position information. Also, we support operations related to software windows, things like adjusting position, minimizing or maximizing, and so on. These commands work basically the same as their web counterparts, so we won't demo them one by one here. Feel free to explore and use them based on your actual needs. It's important to note that software automation doesn't support the extract data feature. If you want to capture data in bulk, the only way to do this is by getting similar element groups. For example, take the similar element group for messages we just captured. If you want to get all the message content in one go, the fastest way is to use the Get Similar Elements command. Set the target to this similar element group and set the content to retrieve to text. This command will save the text content of the similar element group to the list variable below. Name it Discord message Jerry message list text. Then use print to output this list. After running it, you'll be able to see all the message content in the list. Of course, you can also pair this with for each item in list to print each message in the list one by one. Drag this print command in, change the target to loop_item and run it. Each message will print out in sequence. That wraps up our overview of software automation. Let's finish with a quick summary. In software automation, software refers to all desktop applications excluding web pages. Software automation operations involve executing automated actions on software elements within a software window object, and this core workflow matches that of web automation. The window object can be obtained using getSpecifiedWindow. Before getting it, make sure the software is running in the background. If it isn't, use run/open to launch it first. Software elements have 3 capture modes. We recommend trying standard mode first. If that fails, try in-depth mode, and as a last resort, use CV mode. Software automation also supports capturing similar element groups. Supported element operations include click, hover, fill, and more. It can also handle data extraction and window-related actions. All these commands are in the software automation command set. One final note to emphasize: every web automation command has a web label, and its target must be a web element. Every software automation command has a win label, and its target must be a software element. Be sure to distinguish between their uses. Don't use software automation commands to operate web elements, and don't use web automation commands to operate software elements. This will prevent flow errors.